Good day, everyone, especially to our instructor, Miss May Providencia. We are the group 2, and we will be presenting the chapter 16, which is entitled The Representation of Women in Arts and Media. And I am the first reporter, and my name is Francine Nicole Pancho de Dal. So, let's start. So, the women in Western art, the beginning of female objectification. Women are treated as objects of visual pleasure. In many societies, especially in the past, women were often valued mainly for their physical appearance. In art and media, they are shown in ways that focus on beauty, attractiveness, or pleasing others. Because of this, many people may start to see women not as a complete individual with thoughts and abilities, but as something to look at or admire, like an object. The second will be women view themselves through the eyes of others. Over time, women may begin to think about themselves based on how they believe others see them. Instead of asking, "What do I think about myself?" they might ask, "How do others see me?" or "Do I look good enough?" This creates a kind of self awareness where they constantly monitor their appearance, actions, and behavior to match expectations, especially those shaped by society and by men. Third is women became objects of men's desires or compare themselves to others. Women may feel pressure to meet those standards. At the same time, they may compare themselves to other women who seem to fit these ideals better. This can lead to insecurity, competition, or the feeling that their worth depends on being more attractive than others, instead of focusing on their skills, personality, or achievement. Third is this becomes internal social control. At first, the pressure comes from outside, through media, art, or other people's opinion. But eventually, women may start to apply these expectations to themselves even when no one is judging them directly. This is called an internalization. It means they control their own behavior based on what society expects, such as constantly checking their appearance or feeling guilty if they don't meet certain standards. Fourth, art influences women's self perception. Art is powerful because it reflects and shapes ideas in society. When women are repeatedly shown in art as passive, beautiful, or meant to be looked at, it sends a message about their role. Women who grow up seeing these images may begin to believe that this is how they should act or look. So, art doesn't just show reality, it also helps create beliefs about identity and value. Fifth, women were mostly muses, not artists. In Western art history, men were usually the painters, sculptors, and creators, while women were the subjects being painted or displayed. They were called muses, meaning they inspire art but were not the ones making it. This shows a power imbalance. Men had control over how often were represented while women had little voice in how they were portrayed. Now let's proceed with Western art still affects how women are viewed today. Even though society has progressed, many of the ideas from traditional Western art are still present today in movies, advertisements, and social media. For example, the focus on beauty, body image, and being attractive to others can still be traced back to these earlier representations. This shows that past influences continue to shape modern thinking. And Western art explains the origin of female objectification. By studying Western art, we can see how the idea of objectifying women developed over time. It helps us to understand that these views did not just appear suddenly, they were built through history, culture, and repeated images. Knowing this allows us to question these ideas and work towards more respectful and equal representations of women today. That will be all for my part, and now I will give the floor to the next reporter. Goodbye and thank you.
Good day, everyone, especially to you, ma'am. So, I am the next reporter. My name is Jessa D. Eladio, and I am going to tackle about the topic, the male gaze. The male gaze is being concept by Laura Mulvey and in her essay entitled Visual Pleasure and Narrative Cinema. So it draws on the Freudian idea of scopophilia, pleasure derived from looking, which is in cinema involves viewing subjects as objects under a controlling gaze. In other terms, scopophilia cinephilia is a pleasure that being feeling by the men when they are looking to the cinema, especially when the nude girls or in the women that wear bikini or a two-piece or a one-piece. So that is being introduced by Laura Mulvey. In addition of that, it is a context of sexual imbalance. Looking is framed as active or male and being looked as a passive or female. The male gaze shapes how women are represented. They are styled to be visually and erotically appealing, positioned as objects to be admired rather than active subjects. So it means that the girl used to be in the cameras to pose the position in a certain and in certain lingerie or a certain thin clothing. So it is used for pleasing the eyes of the men, and it will be called objects rather than the subjects. We have here the example of the persons that prove that the male gaze. So it is discussed that the male gaze, noting how it shapes female representations to suit male viewers' desires. So one of the example of this is artist P.V. Males argues that treating women as objects of visual pleasure is demeaning and contributes to modern gender issues. So again, P.V. Mills is a gymnast during the 90s, and she is an American and one of the suer of the male gaze. Second one is Peter Paul Rubens. He likes painting and artistically skilled. They are criticized for presenting women as objects for male enjoyment, reinforcing the idea that women exist to be loved and possessed. He is a painter during the 1960s, born in Germany and the Belgium, and also died there. And then also they use the women as the subjects for painting. They even also hired real women to be the model of their painting. So he is the second of the male gaze. So the example of the painting, as what you can see, so I have here provided two examples of the painting. As what you can see in the first picture, so it is a woman and a half naked, that the upper part of her body is exposed together and surrounded by multiple men, and it has no lingerie and the top. And the next one, the Rubens painting, is, as what you can see, is there are two layers, which are the first layer, or in the under is the women, the two women that are naked. They don't have anything clothes, and then they are surrounded also by that multiple men, and in the above they look like models. So that is the picture of the painting of Rubens. The next one is Edward Manet's painting Olympia and Les Dugenors. So I don't know if I pronounce it correctly, because the title of the painting of Mr. Manet are in the Spanish language, because he lived in the Belgium, that is part of the Spain. So the two paintings that very known that made by him is the Olympia and Les Dugenors sur LLB. Offer a contrast. They depict women with agency, showing them as self-possessed and idealized. Uniquely, the female subjects gaze directly back at the viewer, reversing the dynamic and challenging the traditional objectification of women in art. So, as what you can see in the last painting about the Rubens painting, the women are not looking at the front or at the audience or at the painter, but look in different direction. However, in Mr. Manet's paintings, they look at the painter. So it means he made a contrast of Mr. Rubens' painting. So I have here the example of the paintings. So the first one is the Olympia. As what you can see, right? So there is a woman that is naked, purely naked, and another woman in the back that has another woman in the back. So that is a not that is the part of the painting, and the women in the naked has a two companion, which are the men, and they are looking at the women. So as what you can see, the women in the picture is looking at the painter. And then the next one, the lady dinner, so Sor Leherbi. So as what you can see, it is a picture of a woman, a naked again, like it has no clothing in the body. So it laid in the bed, and it has a flower in the ear, and it is looking. It is looking at the front. So that is the difference between the Mr. Rubens and Mr. Manet's painting. So in the conclusion, the concept of the male gaze frames women as passive objects of visual pleasure. So it means that they use the woman as a picture for a visual pleasure, reinforcing gender imbalance and objectification in art and media. Because as we all know that almost of the model that uses the thin clothes, the very, very small clothes that they are wearing when they are in model, or they are in modeling and the rompoc or any kind of media or any cinema, they are using that male gaze, which means that they are using the women as the visual pleasure, and it is absorbs the media. While many traditional works perpetuate this dynamic, artists like Manet have challenged it by portraying women with agency, reversing the gaze and questioning established norms. So it is all the same, but there are some different in each one. So like the works of Mr. Manet, which is it has a contrast to the painter that we talked a while ago. So that would be all for my topic, and I hope you learn which is the topic of the male gaze. Once again, thank you.
Hi, this is Rochelle Ilom, and now this evening, let's continue the topic of women in advertising. Now, when we heard advertising, as there's a lot of advertise which is women ang model, right? And this evening, let us know what is women in advertising. Now, women are frequently objectified to sell products, and our bodies or appearance are linked into items like car, like alcohol. Di ba ganang model pod ang mga girl ana when it comes sa alcohol, nakakuan pod mo sa tanduay, which is ang advertise pod is ang bayi pod. Maybe there's a lot of products na more on girl ang ga-advertise. Maybe napod boys pero dili jud siya kaayo kuan. And that way, our bodies or appearance is linked to advertise items like cars, alcohol, what else? We have the fashion or beauty goods and many more. Maybe in that way, makaingon po ta nga, maybe kuan po siya kanang ang mag-advertise pud ana nga mga products which is girl pero gwapa, nice og body, mga inana good, divach, naintindihan lang ba, which is ang women is frequently objectified to sell products, okay? That next we have diva kung mag-advertise ang bayi or ang mga babae is ads often to create the idea that women need to be perfect, which is the woman need to have a thin body, beautiful, kinahanglan makinis, like inana good before sila mag-advertise, which is in that way to be worthy when it comes to love or success. Okay? Now, when we notice nga a lot of advertisement using a girl or a woman is to represent that like perfect body, diba, which I said nga di jud siya maka kuan og mga inaani na jud mga itsura nato, pero every woman have a different beauty. But when it comes to advertising, a lot of girls nga need jud tsada og lawas, beautiful, mga inaana good, and that's way worthy of love or success, and promote products that claim to help achieve the standards. When it comes to advertising, man good class, which is need jud nimo siya og kinahanglan perfect jud ka nga usa ka babae mo advertise for you to achieve the standards. Ang advertising, which is naa jud na siya standards for you to kanaging maakit ang mga customers, mga inana good nga kuan good. Okay, naintindihan? Next, we have the next one. We have these ideals of beauty are socially constructed. That's why it is important, and this constructed and are designed to sell things people can choose to question or reject. Ana nga importante. That's why women in advertising, that is the very important, which is the when it comes to advertising, there is a standards. That why we need to be perfect. The kailangan ba jud ay dili, these ideals I beauty are socially constructed only. That's why maybe one day people will realize that every woman needs to have appear kinahanglan pantay siya og paglanta ba nga tanan nga babae duwa pa and perfect siya og unsa siya. And that would be all. Thank you for watching. Bye.
Good day, everyone. My name is Jeremy E. Inaferio. Now, let's proceed to the sexual and a human and sexualization. Now, the body becomes a woman basis of self-worth. The American Psychology Association data study on sexualization of human in media. They arrive at very disturbing findings. The sexualization of women in media and their objectification have a negative effect of women. Now, women and sexualization is a topic often discussed in the society, media, and education. What is a sexualization? So, sexualization happens when a person, offends woman or girl, is treated or shown mainly as a sexual object rather than as a whole person with thoughts, skills, and personality. It can involve focusing too much on someone's body, appearance, or attractiveness in a way that ignore their other quality. So, how does it affect women? So, objectification, women's may be seen more for how they look than who they are. Then, pressure on appearance, it can create unrealistic beauty standards, making girls feel demanded to look a certain way. And next is lower self-esteem. Constant comparison to idealized image can affect confidence. Next is limited rules. So limited rules in media, women may be shown in fewer rules instead of diverse career and identities. And last, why is it important to understand? So, for you, why it is important to understand? So, understanding sexualization helps people respect others as complete individuals and build healthy self-image and confidence and challenge unfair stereotypes and last promote equality between gender. So, that is woman and sexualization. That's all of my part. Thank you.
Good day, everyone. This time we will move on to beauty as a weapon against women. Women in media are often portrayed more for their appearance rather than their abilities. Because of this, unrealistic beauty standards are created and continuously promoted. According to the beauty myth, there is this idea of one perfect beauty that all women are expected to achieve, even if it's unrealistic. As a result, many women base their self worth on how they look, which can lead to insecurity and even affect their mental health. These standards are not only reinforced by media, but also by society and sometimes by women themselves. Because of this pressure, women's confidence and opportunities can be limited. However, today, there is already a growing movement that promotes more realistic and diverse representations of women. Overall, media plays a powerful role in shaping how women are viewed, which is why it is important to be aware of these portrayals.
And now, let us proceed to beauty and the Western ideal and the reclaiming the media. But let us discuss first the beauty and the Western ideal. Western beauty standards became dominant in the Philippines due to colonialism, framing fair skin, Western features, and whiteness as superior, while darker skin and local traits were associated with lower status. This created inequality as fair skin was seen as a mark of privilege. Western features, or fair skin or straight hair, became the ideal which many people struggle to achieve, reinforcing unfair social hierarchies. So, in short, beauty and the Western ideal refers to a set of standards for what is considered beautiful that originated in Western cultures, which became the dominant and widely accepted norm, especially in places like the Philippines due to colonial history. Now, let us proceed to the reclaiming the media. Reclaiming the media, there is a need to challenge the media's narrow, often sexualized portrayal of womanhood by promoting diverse and alternative visions of what is or what it means to be a woman. Women should have greater control over their own narratives, and more women should be involved in creating media content, writing, art, and etc. to reflect varied experiences and perspectives. Funding is a key barrier, so grants and support are needed to help women produce alternative content. Societies should invest in images of women that go beyond objectification, and training programs are important to help people, both women and men, understand how media shapes perceptions, challenge harmful ideologies, and develop critical thinking to analyze media messages and their
impact. In short, reclaiming the media means taking back control over how women are represented and portrayed in media and changing the way stories and images are created and shared.